prossimo intervento riguarda la presentazione di un libro da parte del professor Andrei Varlamov, che è un fisico che credo conosciate tutti, è primo ricercatore CNR presso l'Istituto dei Superconduttori, Ossidi, Altri Materiali e Dispositivi Innovativi a Roma. È presente il volume di Kaleidoscope of Physics From Soap Bubbles to Quantum Technologies, a cura di Attilio Ricamonti, che è il nostro membro effettivo di Pavia, e Andrei Varlamov, Jacques Villain, World Scientific 2023. Prego, professore.
Today I would like to present you the story, the lucky story of one book which was born here. Actually, in 1997, I was awarded the Premium of Cariplo, Premio Alessandro Volta Landau, and I had the pleasure to spend 6 months in Pavia with Professor Rigamonti, with whom we already knew each other due to our common scientific interests. But being in tight contact with him, actually, we found another common point, love for popularization of science. So, thanks to efforts of Attilio, yes, here, unfortunately, he today with us only online, but due to the efforts of Attilio and Stefania Titoni, other colleagues, we were able to write and publish the book Il magico caleidoscopio della fisica, which was published by Goliardi Capavese, Signor De Bona, and this book found its reasonable success in Italian readership. And then I had the honor to be elected as a member correspondent of Istituto Lombardo, and I met Jacques Villain, the French academician, friend of Attilio, and we presented him this book as a gift. He read it and then told, oh, it is so nice. I have to translate it in French. But, you know, French people usually are very, very, we know from 1789 about their revolution character. So he started to change the text, not to translate, but to change. So I told him, Jacques, in this case, you must share responsibility and to be co-author. So in this way was born this book, which is a Erede. So it inherits the magico caleidoscopio della fisica, but Le Kaleidoscope della Physique was published by the publisher Belen, and Belen was this traditional historic publisher which still published the posters for French Revolution. And they published this book, and I don't know, because of more respect for Jacques, or who was very respectable member of French Academy, or because of merits of our book, but in 2015 we got Grand Prix Public Roberval for the best Francophone text, because this is international prize from Switzerland, Sorbonne, the Canada, French government, Compiègne University. So this book was evaluated. It was a great pleasure for us. And then I was proposed by some didactic foundation in Russia to translate this book from French to Russian, and it appeared in 2019. It appeared in a very nice edition of the coffee table book, and in 2020 it got the prize of Russian Academy of Science. It was before all events, so I still have this diploma at my wall. So it was evaluated as the best scientific popularized text of 2020. Then we got invitation from the World Scientific to translate this book from French to the English. And actually it was in great extent was done at the initial stage by Attilio Rigamonti. Then I entered in this, and my colleagues, Andreas Glatz, professor of the Kalb University, and Professor Rufus Boyack, they helped to transform my very approximate English in readable English. So, namely this book, it appeared actually, I afraid that I will not be able to show you it because we, with great advantage, we put this presentation at the June 22nd, and it was promised that it will appear in the January. Unfortunately, I have got, so not in Italy, delays from, I got it just this Monday, so it is still hot book. So I would like to tell you several words about what this book is about.
Other direction.
Yes. Okay. So here you see the French edition and the presentation in the Compiègne Imperial Theater. This is our unfortunately late Jacques Villain with this book. Here there is what I told the Russian edition with a diploma for the best popularized books in the competition. Then this is a new edition, and here are the contents. The book consists of 4 parts. First part is open air physics, where we try to attend. So actually, my long experience of teaching students or to work with gifted students is that I should not be annoying, and I do not have right to write formulas. I have to attract first attention of my readers in this case to attend by some beautiful phenomena, surprising phenomena, and then I have a slot to write several formulas. Then immediately I have to return again to something interesting for all of us, of generic, and then again you have right. So actually for professor, my experience says that professor should not be annoying and should look at himself from the eyes of the audience. Once I was in 1986, I was nominated as a vice editor-in-chief of the scientific popular magazine Quant of Russian Soviet Academy of Science. And my first work was to edit the article of famous academician Arkady Migdal, who was writing the scientific popular book about how, so the first years of quantum mechanics. And he gave one chapter of it like the publication on probation. So I was young, and I started to to do my best to correct the text, etc. Finally, I came to his place with his manuscript full of my red corrections. And you should imagine, so he was a great scientist, I was young, just researcher, and any my correction, he thought, no. Finally, he made comparison between first he explained the notion of quantization in the quantum well with infinite wells, where you have standing wells. So half wavelengths, 1 wavelength, 3 half, etc. So it is very easy. And then he did the parallel with Bohr model of atom and told, here the quantization is like in the quantum well. And in this moment, I was, sorry, Professor, but it seems that boundary conditions are a little bit different. So instead of 0 at the extremes, you have periodic. So at the first Bohr state, you will have not half of a wavelength, but 1. He looked at me, told, Andrei, you have saved my honor. And from this moment, he spoke with me seriously. He denied all my corrections, besides this one. And then he explained me the concept of popularization of science, how he understood it. And he told me, I remember all my life, he told, look, the difference between making science and popularization of science is the classical painting and impressionism. You should paint with large, I don't know this English word, okay, lines. Not precisely, but do not cheat. Tanti chiamati sono pochi seletti. Our goal to attract people. Then they will be selected in university. And then they will be taught in all details. So I want to say that we saw our mission in this way, to attract and to give minimum of formalism to do not repel. So you can see that here there are rivers. Why rivers meander? Why almost in every river you will find island? Why from one lake never exit 2 rivers? It can enter 10, but only 1 exit. Artificial and natural waveguides. How submarines speak between them. Unfortunately, today is a sad day. Then colors of sea and sky. Why colors of sea can be so different and sky? What on this depends? Foucault pendulum and Coriolis forces. Then tides, the theory of tides. Then the climate. Why summers become hotter, etc. So I will show you, for instance, speaking about why rivers meander. It is very interesting that why in the north hemisphere, almost always the right bank is higher than the left one. And it is fantastic, but actually this is related with experiment done by Einstein with tea leaves in the glass of tea. So we compare this phenomena and explain why it happens. Then the colors of sea and sky. We attract attention on the existence of, and in Italy, often you can see that there are 2 rainbows, not 1, 2 rainbows. And colors of the second are reciprocal with why it is so. Then climate, why summers become hotter. So we consider, unfortunately, you see, I had to change my suite. Now I could not resist from the early morning, and we are only June 22. So indeed we see that climate changes under our eyes. So we give a simple explanation. We do not pretend for all, but we explanation about the balance and how it changes and how the human activity can affect on this. Then we pass you see, neofito più santo di Papa. So I'm being adopted Italian when I came first because I was born in Ukraine, in Kiev, and then I came to Italy in 1988, and what I was indeed impressed that when I took train from Bologna to Florence, so my ears were closed, and I could not understand. I asked people, and they told pressure is more high in the tunnel. Others told pressure is more low. So I decided to write Bernoulli equation, and then I noticed that when it was not non Freccia Rossa, it was intercity. So the speed was 180. So it was possible to open the window. And I saw that the curtains went out, not in, but out. So this means that pressure out was lower than in. So I wanted to understand it, and we wrote corresponding equations and found the secret of train, why ears are closed and why they feel at the very beginning, at the end. Because for the ear, this is the same. Important only change of the pressure, not increase or decrease. So we react in airplane also. You feel pain in ears twice when it landed and when it go up. Okay, so here the Stradivari legacy, we could not avoid being in Attilio and Pavia, and close is Cremona, so it was impossible to ignore the presence of Stradivari and other Italian maestro of violins. So we found physics also here. Why with the bastone you can produce this sound? How friction force works? This is very non-trivial. And we proposed here the theory of mechanical functioning of violin. Then we passed to the everyday physics. Energy, is it obedient maid or oppressive mistress? So the very actual today discussions about green energy, about the atomic stations, and look, for me it is surprising that in Italy, the motherland of Enrico Fermi, who actually gave nuclear physics to our mankind, there is no, our cousins French produce electric energy and sells it to us. So we discuss pro and contra of nuclear powers. You see here the accident in Fukushima, and we discuss these aspects, how atomic power works, and pro and contra. Then we pass to the physics, the third part, Cuoco sapiens, the sapient cooker. Being in Italy, you cannot ignore such beautiful phenomena as, for instance, why Italian prefer to go to eat pizza in pizzeria con forno a legno, not electrical one. So we, with Andreas, wrote once the article Fisica di una buona pizza, and even for Pierangelo, we prepared the transmission of it. So actually we derived the formula for the temperature at the interface between the bottom of oven and the bottom of the dough disk of pizza, of future pizza. And we found that it depends naturally on the heat conductivity, heat capacity, and density of two materials and their temperatures, T1 and T2. So, to make a long story short, I will just say you the numbers. So when I asked my friend pizzaiolo in Rome, so pizza romana, he told me, professore, mai venire mangiare pizza alle 7. Why? Because oven is still not. So actually, he told me that the optimal temperature for Roman pizza, so for low pizza, is 330 if dough is 24 hours of fermentation. Better 48, but if 24, so 330. And baking time is around 2 minutes. If he has 100, this good pizzeria, and he has 100 clients, he can manage 2 pizzas simultaneously. So production 1 per minute, and there is a long queue portare via. So he is forced to increase temperature for 390, not more. And he produced one pizza in 70 seconds instead of 120. So we asked ourselves, are we able to reproduce these numbers from physics, knowing the heat capacity of dough, heat capacity of mattone refractario, and all other parameters? Indeed, but it is necessary to make a balance. Even so, I delivered this lecture in Shanghai, but something did not fit because I did a balance of heat capacity of pizza, irradiation from above, heat transfer from below. I ignored the process of convection, and something did not fit. So I had a very good Chinese student who was very polite. He approached me in the corridor after the lecture and told, Professor, excuse me, please, maybe it is necessary to take into account that the pizza is also black body and it irradiates with the temperature, not temperature in oven, but temperature of boiling water. I took into account and all worked perfectly. So you see how it is possible to do sciences around very simple things. And we write about this. Then the physics of a good coffee. Why Italian coffee is so good? I bet with you. Ask 100 Italians what temperature is in the large espresso machine, which, by the way, was invented in Milano in 1857. Because in Naples, they had Napolitana. Read Edoardo Di Filippo, how he describes how he drinks coffee in giardini di Vomero, che non esistono più. After the Second World War, Vomero was transformed in the cement sack. So all this is very beautiful. The secret of good Italian espresso is high pressure and low temperature. Temperature only 88, 92, and pressure 916 atmospheres. What is very interesting, so they are very delicate things, are, I need another 2 minutes. Do I have?
How much?
5 minutes, okay. Okay, so if you go to Trieste, the second capital of Italy, the coffee, because one is Naples, another. So, and you will ask barman, barista will tell you that he changes the level of grinding of coffee every half an hour. Why? Because of humidity. In city, humidity changed fast. And he changed the only way, I speak about traditional machines. So the only way how barista can affect on coffee brewing is grinding, because pressure is installed once per 2 months by technique. Temperature also. So pressure and temperature, and he can judge about the quality of coffee, because espresso italiano means at least 7 grams of coffee, 25 milliliters at the hot cup, and it should be brewed in 15-25 seconds. But he does not measure with secundometer, 15 or 25. He looks at the size of flow. Deve essere come il topo il coda di topo. And so he sees if it is too long, so coffee will be burned. Too fast, coffee will be weak. So he can, the only thing he can change the grinding, so the level of porosity of the coffee in filter. Why? I have my ideas why, but I'm not sure. I believe that actually the process of grinding, you produce the power very, very small particles, and you redistribute charge. So between the metallic knives, etc., you redistribute, so some electrostatic forces appears. And you form, due to Colombian forces, you form some agglomerates. So actually, the target during the filtration is not one particle, but some agglomerate. And the size of this agglomerate depends on the initial humidity. Before you will enter the water. Okay, let's go. Then the fourth part of the book is devoted to the quantum world. So we, being physicists, all three, and working in the field of quantum physics, we selected some topics which can be interesting for reader, which are picturesque. And of course, the basis principle of quantum mechanics is the uncertainty principle. So uncertainty principle of Heisenberg, the Bohr atom, quantization, and finally, of course, discussion of poor Schrödinger cat. Poor Schrödinger cat, who no one knows is alive or dead, but this was the scherzoso esempio che ha fatto Schrödinger. So we discuss these things, then we speak about the superconductivity. Superconductivity is our professional field of Attilio Rigamonti and mine, so we shared with our readers our love for the subject and some peculiarities which can be presented. And finally, and the large, it was the incredible revolution. So superconductivity is very beautiful, and it was very promising. Nevertheless, so now, for instance, what applications of superconductivity? I was a student of Nobel Prize Alex Abrikosov, who actually got his Nobel Prize for type 2 superconductivity. And actually, I wish you to do not, but when you go to do resonanza magnetica in any hospital, it is due to superconductors of the second order. There is no way to create so strong magnetic fields to see inside the human being. And they were discovered in 1957 by my maestro. So I won't say that in superconductivity, whole market of superconductors. Today, unfortunately, we live in the world of commerce. So whole market of superconductors is about 5 billion, while for semiconductors, 1 trillion. So everywhere, all in our computers and our telephones, work semiconductors. So, but they cannot be now considered as a classical electronic objects. We already arrived at the limit of quantum mechanics. Besides the fact that semiconductor is explained only in terms of quantum mechanics, but even from the point of view of practical production, manufacturing, we are at the limit of normal world, and it is necessary to take into account phenomena of quantum world. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.